All right, guys. So as you can tell, went ahead and got the bike. So I had to hang it from the rafters. So the way I did the exhaust, I went under. So my motorcycle lift, I just don't want to crush that. I don't want to put pressure on the exhaust or the engine manifold. So got it hung up from the rafters. Get the tail end under it. Go ahead and break these axle bolt loose. Get the chain off. Kind of get everything to get off so we can take a look at this. Sprocket and see what we got to do to get the other one to work. So I'm going to keep plugging away, pop this chain off, and see what we can do. All right, guys, so there's a couple options. You could grind these rivets off basically and drill them and tap them and put these on the new sprocket. I'm just leery to do that for a couple of reasons. One, I'm just not sure, right? I just don't want to commit to it. If I do that, I don't know how hard it is to be, or it's going to be to find another one of these. So what I'm going to do is I've got this rim, right? There's a couple positives about using this rim. This is a rear rim, 12-inch rim, same dimensions as this. It's just, obviously it's not a street tire yet. Same axle, all of that will work. So what I am going to do is this sprocket will actually bolt right up. So the sprocket will bolt right up. Got the bolts, all of that good stuff for it. So I'm going to go with this one. It is a spoked rim. It's going to match the front. This one's kind of ugly anyway, and they'd cut it to get to the valve stem and all of that. So I can run this sprocket, and then it will give me the opportunity to then have disc brakes in the rear. I think that's huge. To be able to have their disc brakes in the back would be a huge plus. So I'm going to go ahead and get the sprocket on, do all of that. I got to get a new tire and a tube for this thing, at least a tube to get it pumped up to test ride it, but it's showing cracks. So I'm going to go ahead and order a whole new tire, whole new inner tube for this. So but I'm going to go ahead and get it mocked up, get my axle spacing, get everything, get my chain cut, everything there. As you saw in the videos with the gearing, it's a 4-speed. With this sprocket, the first gear is just super short, right? I mean, it's just absolutely short. So what I'm thinking is going to a much smaller sprocket is going to give me a longer gearing, a much higher top speed, and all of that. Now if it doesn't work, I can still continue to use this, get another sprocket, same bolt pattern, etc. Or I could always go back to the original one, and I have not cut and messed up that sprocket. So that's kind of my thought process. I'm going to go ahead and get this bolted on, go ahead and get it on, get everything mocked up, and go from there. All right, guys, here it is. So man, we got this thing really dialed in. Got everything put back together. Got my Amazon speedometer hooked up. So when we changed the tires, we lost the front disc brake, but we also lost that the cable driven speedometer. So what I did was got this all hooked up, and what I love about this one, so it'll go through first, second, third, or fourth gear, and it'll actually tell you what gear you're in. So, and this thing's pretty sharp for what it is. So you'll see it fire up, zip, zip. It's got my mileage on there, so neutral light, all of that good stuff. So the only thing that I do need to hook up is my RPM gauge. That's the last missing piece. Everything else is wired up. So it shows all my information except for the gas, and then I need to hook up the RPM. So let's get this thing on the road. This will be the first ride y'all have got to see with everything, with the new gearing and everything. So we've got that, obviously the smaller gearing I talked about, new tires. So let's get this thing on the road. Let's see how it does. Well, as you can tell, guys, we got this thing really dialed in. A few odds and ends, really, but it's pretty much ready for paint. Got everything just geared right, running right. Chain is good. Probably gonna put a new chain on there, gold chain, once I get it all stripped down for paint. But boy, what a difference this thing has become, huh? I mean, that thing could barely creep at 35, 40. Fourth gear, we just hit 48. Definitely a big difference. Man, it's been a while. God, this weather's been horrible. It's been super cold. So I hope you've enjoyed it up to this point. That's kind of some of the riding and stuff we've done, but finally to a point where this week we're gonna have like 70-degree weather. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna finally get this chopper broke down, start getting it prepped for paint. We've got all the wheels, got it dialed in. This thing is an absolute blast to ride. Super reliable, haven't had any issues. Starts right up, literally starts right up, can take it right down the road. Been riding it a good bit when, you know, it's warm. It's kind of why I haven't broken it down during the cold time. I just didn't want it down, right? I get a nice warm day and I ride it, but we're gonna get into that. Got another project. This is a bike I've had. Gonna go ahead and introduce it. I'm gonna do a video of it separately, but built this bike. I had it about 5 years ago. Sold it to a buddy of mine. Always told him if he wanted to sell it, please let me know. So he did want to sell it. So give you guys a little sneak peek preview of the 73 CB350 Cafe. That's enough. So you'll see videos coming up. Please, you know, subscribe, hit that bell notification to watch videos. That thing is an absolute blast. So many custom parts and stuff done to this bike. I'm really not going to do anything, and I've got some Mikuni 28s coming in, VM 28s on the way. That's really all it needs. Quick tune up and some carbs, and we'll be riding the thing. So appreciate you. All right, guys, probably a couple hours after. So what I've done is I've gone through with 150 grit, 100 grit sandpaper, and I've sanded everything nice and smooth, knocked down the hot low spots, make everything in on the swing arm and the frame. So I went all the way through it, and then I sprayed it off with some degreaser and took it to the water hose. And then once I did that, I brought it in here with my rag, and I've gone through every nook and crevice and just wiped it down, trying to get all this grease off. So let's see. All right, guys, well, obviously I didn't film this. I was kind of in my groove, but tell me that doesn't make a huge difference. Got the frame painted, swing arm, all my little accessory pieces, handlebars, and then we got the try not to got the frame nice and painted. So I'm gonna let everything harden up, and then what we'll do is we'll wet sand like we did the primer. We're gonna let it set for 24 hours, wet sand it, get the clear coat on there, harden up, rinse, repeat. It's gonna be sweet. But I'm telling you guys, if you want to get a decent paint job, what you do is you wet sand that primer, and it just lays down. I mean, you could see it. This is dry. And it is, I mean, it just goes down way smoother, and you don't get so much orange peel. So that's the way to do it. We're gonna let this stuff set up, and we'll get back at it.